Hello and welcome to the England B Team podcast, a football podcast brought to you by an Englishman who wasn't good enough to make it as a professional footballer
and an Irishman who wasn't good enough to play for England.
My name's Joe and this is my co-host Gareth, and we're back again to talk about all things football.
How have you been for the last 2 weeks?
So good. So
Look
busy,
at that. By the way, can I just say, we obviously, you might not remember, listeners, because it's been 2 weeks since you've heard our voices, but we have recorded this directly after our last episode. But can we just say, costume changes as well?
No, so
the level of professionalism
speed,
you're getting on this podcast is honestly unmatched.
Yeah.
Peter Crouch doesn't do that in his podcast, does he?
Can't compare.
Yeah, man, look at this. So we're batch recording it.
We're very busy over the next weeks, but we want to keep getting these podcasts out.
Do you want to predict what might have happened in the football world in a month's time when this comes out?
Chelsea be top of the league.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, I had a friend who rang me up today, actually. He was like, I didn't really listen to many podcasts. He's a big football fan.
Okay.
I think, but I got into your podcast. I've binged a few episodes. A guy called Oshin actually was commenting on our Instagram.
True.
And he was like, I just listened to your Premier League prediction one. He's like, that hasn't aged well. And I was like, yep, you're definitely right. Yeah. He's like, you said Chelsea are going to win the league. And I was like, yeah, man, I was a different man 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said Liverpool second, and they're actually doing quite well. So
what I'm hoping is at the end of the year, if Chelsea do get relegated, the only good thing is the clip of me saying they're going to win the league will go viral.
True. So
and I don't care. I will take
took
viral.
one for the team.
I did, yeah. That's it. I was only doing it. It's only a joke anyway. It's only a joke. So, yeah. Obviously not much to say because we've said it all in the last podcast. We can't update you on figures or anything because unless we've hit the million streams mark in the last few weeks, which I doubt.
We still have a very good episode for you today.
So tell them, what are we doing today?
So again, it'll be a bit of a shorter episode, but I think actually quite nice because I think 30 to 40 minutes is a good podcast length. I think that's how long the average commute is as well, so people can listen to it on their Monday morning commute or whatever. And we're going to go back into our previous episode. We did the Bundesliga versus Premier League comparison.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to the England versus Germany comparison. I guess around the topic of England-German football rivalry, which doesn't really exist in Germany. It's more like an English media thing.
Yeah, it very much so is.
But of course, there's been some very iconic games between the two nations. And I think in a future episode, maybe we can probably dive into the rivalry. I'm doing it with quotation marks a bit more. Yeah. Talk about some historic games and maybe a bit about how the future looks for both nations.
Also, I would like to talk about why it is an English media construct.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people don't know that. They imagine that in Germany they get as wound up here. I think if you ask your average German football fan who their biggest rivalry is, they'll probably say France.
Yeah, it's like France or the Netherlands. Or
Holland for a long time as well. Yeah. But England doesn't. I think it's kind of like in most sports as well. Like rugby's the same. Everyone just likes beating England.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of has England as a rival, but it's not a real rivalry. So I would love to know. I would love to get into the reason why the English media are so obsessed with stoking that fire every time and making us all think that it's the same across the world when it's just not.
It's really not.
I know, obviously, it's insane to even think that the English media could be questionable at times because they're so impeccably behaved at all times. But yeah, we'll do that some other time.
Yeah, sounds good. But yeah, so for this episode, we'll be doing, which I think actually was requested, we'll be doing a combined England and Germany starting 11 from our lifetime.
Yeah, so we're talking even lifetime. I'm more talking players that I would have seen. So early 90s and quarter. Yeah,
2002 onwards.
Yeah, I think my earliest would be about 2002. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we're the same age, as I keep bringing up in this podcast. Joe's,
yeah.
We're not.
A few years ago. But,
we're not far off. I'm 31 soon. I'm 31. Am I 31 by the time this podcast comes out? No. I'm nearly 31 by the time this podcast comes out.
We'll do a special episode.
I think my birthday's on a Thursday this year as well.
There we go.
So the England B Team podcast will be out. There'll be no episode that week. I'm turning 31.
Watch our episode and saying Gareth, congratulations.
No, Joe will do a solo episode. I'm not recording an episode when I turn 31. I'm going to be too depressed to record an episode. I'm going to sit and just hold my framed picture of Rudy Fowler and cry.
Alright, let's go deep.
Right, anyway, let's get back to this.
So pretty much
combined 11, 2002-ish kind of era up to modern day. We actually genuinely, before we do actually get into this all, we genuinely haven't seen each other's ones. We haven't talked about it.
I haven't told anyone as well about this, so I think we're just going to go position by position. We don't know each other's formation, but I assume it's going to be a goalkeeper, 4 defenders, some midfielders and some strikers.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's what I thought. So should we get straight into it then? I think
probably the goalkeeper is the easiest one.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
easiest is in the sense that it's definitely going to be a German goalkeeper.
Of course, yeah. And I think there's 2 options really.
Which one did you go for?
I went for Manuel Neuer.
Oh man, I went for Kahn.
Really?
I went for Oliver Kahn.
Why Oliver Kahn?
I love him. That's why, man. Oliver Kahn was just, again, this is a topic for a podcast someday. Is German goalkeepers, because most of them have lost their minds. Okay, German goalkeepers, even Oliver Kahn. When I was researching this episode, have you ever seen the article in Tor magazine? So Tor magazine is like Goal Back Home. It's like like a teenage kind of tabloidy kind of style magazine, and footballers, like fun magazine, something like the Match magazine, the old Match one. Magazine. He did a charity shootout against 9-year-olds a couple of years ago, and every time a 9-year-old scored a penalty against him, they got like a couple of thousand for charity. He saved all of them.
Wow, okay.
He was that committed.
That Michael Owen video where he kept scoring against the kid as well. Maybe a bit different. But yeah, I mean, Oliver Kahn was. Maybe I don't remember him as much because I guess he's at his best in the early 2000s. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's the iconography of Kahn as well. You know, I feel like he redefined the goalkeeper role in many ways. He had that blonde hair. Sorry, we're just off the topic of haircuts. But he was so imposing, and he was such a figure, and he was obviously the captain as well. I know Neuer was as well. They're very comparable in many ways. But
for me, Neuer's the best goalkeeper of our generation. Like, he was just... I don't know, he's a sweeper keeper.
Would you take him above someone like a prime Casillas or a prime Valdez?
Yeah.
Prime Buffon?
100%.
See, I would disagree.
Neuer is just incredible. Like, he could do everything. He could take penalties as well. Like,
he could, to be fair, yeah. He often got involved in the penalty shootout as well.
But, I think we could talk about Neuer, talk about Kahn for a long time. But I think...
But we're not going to talk about an English goalkeeper.
It was always going to be a...
Yeah. Who are we choosing for the English ones? Like, honestly, it probably have to be Pickford. He's the only one that hasn't had an absolute howler at a major tournament.
Pickford, I guess.
Seaman, to be fair, David Seaman was alright, but then again, he did have a bit of a howler with the Ronaldinho goal in 2002.
Pickford's been pretty reliable, but I think everyone will agree it's going to be a German goalkeeper.
Actually, on that note, are you picking players based on their how they play as quality of a player, or are you judging them on their performances in an England shirt?
Quality of player, a bit of both. A bit of both.
Because I feel like it was quality of player in an England shirt in our generation, apart from since 2018, they've all been awful. So, I was just checking out. Okay. All right. Actually, so, goalkeeper we agree on.
Actually, maybe right back is the easiest one, actually.
Who have you got for right back?
Philip Lahm.
Yeah. So, I was debating whether to include Philip Lahm on this or not, because he did play at left back and defensive midfielder as well, but he has to be in the team somewhere. Yeah. And let's be honest,
he was always a solid 8 out of 10.
Great player. A superb player.
Guardiola said he's one of the most intelligent players he worked with.
He was the one that converted him as well, the holding midfielder as well.
Midfielder, like the inverted fullback.
Yeah, and again, I don't even know there's that many other German options. There's certainly not a strong argument for an England option.
No, I can't.
Kyle Walker would probably be the best. Gary Neville, man.
But
we're not having Gary Neville as the best right back.
Kyle Walker probably, but Philip Lahm was next level, I think.
Yeah. And again, I think the problem with Kyle Walker, not again, but this will come up a lot, is Kyle Walker obviously done great things for England, but he's still playing, and I feel like I can't judge him properly until you give him another few years, and then I'll look back at it a bit more with hindsight.
Yeah, it's more the hindsight. But I think Kyle Walker's brilliant as well.
Yeah, superb player. But
I think Philip Lahm.
Okay, so we've agreed on that one. Yeah. So what have you got? Centre halves.
As I mentioned, I very recently, talking about the vintage topic in our last episode, I got a Philip Lahm 2008 German
You did, you did.
An absolute bargain as well.
Isn't that the one with the big giant letters as well for Lahm? They're like half a foot apart.
Huge number 16 on the back. All right, central defenders. For me,
go.
Well,
wasn't easy.
One was quite obvious, and let's say from the beginning for his on the pitch antics, John Terry.
Yeah. Okay.
On the pitch antics,
I will give you exactly the same.
Captain, leader, legend, unbelievable defender, unbelievable passing, left foot, so good.
England captain, Chelsea captain,
scorer, defender in Premier League history. England captain on and off.
Yeah,
he had everything again.
He did, apart from anything he did off the pitch.
Yes.
Which I think, did you read the thing the other day where he was charging for autographs at his meet and greet event?
Oh, really? Wow.
Something like 80 quid he was charging for an autograph at one of his meet and greet events. Like, man, John Terry, I don't think he's listening, so I think it's quite safe for me to say this, but horrible person. Great footballer, not the best lad.
No.
I said this before in this podcast, I think, but I saw Kevin Bridges doing the bit in this, and he said if John Terry wasn't a professional footballer,
have you mentioned this
before, he looks like the kind of guy that'd be hanging outside nightclubs in Magaluf handing out free shots to everybody.
Yeah,
awful.
It's a shame,
but,
isn't it? But
I've got him in my team too.
Yeah, and who's partnering him for you?
Tough one, this.
I had a German originally, but I changed to an English defender.
I think I did the same thing. Who was your original German?
Hummels.
Me too. I've got Mats Hummels as question mark, and then
I
who
think
did you change
probably
it
to Ferdinand.
There we are.
Because I mean, Hummels was unbelievable in 2014 World Cup, and then at Borussia Dortmund, and then at Bayern Munich. But I think the longevity,
He's only 33 or something. Almost. Yeah. He's not even that old, but his
also,
career
in the last few years, it's not been as good.
No.
Obviously, he's sold by Munich, but.
Yeah, and it's weird because we're talking about a centre defender who won the World Cup and was a big part of that team, but still, this is going to be...
That was a good team.
Exactly, and that's a common thing with Germany. I feel like they have great teams, but individuals have never been a German thing.
Team, and a couple of players from that team are in Y11.
Really? Yeah. Oh, there's one.
I have 3, 2. I think, actually.
Okay, well, there we are. So JT and Rio, we're agreeing. 3 of the 4 defenders we've got so far. Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to agree on the left back.
Yeah, again, I think quite easily.
Ashley Cole.
Yep, Ashley Cole. Probably arguably the best left back of our generation.
Of all time, to be argued.
As far as we
Roberto Carlos,
Marcelo, etc.
I wouldn't put Marcelo in.
No?
Nah,
he was really good.
No.
But yeah, also won it all with his club.
Yeah.
But of course, all the English players in this will have no international trophies.
Obviously, yeah.
Again, unbelievable all-round
I think one of my players has an international trophy, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay, interesting. But yeah,
there we are. So back four is the same.
Back four, I think, is
we
quite
nearly agreed on the
goalkeeper
goalkeeper as well.
Yeah, I think most people agree with the back four.
Yeah, I can't really think of a German defender I'd throw in. Even 2002, there's no one that stood out individually so good.
No.
2014,
so there's
Per Mertesacker as well was knocking around that kind of time too. And
the left back was a centre back as well for Germany.
Yeah,
2014
true.
World Cup.
And there was a time as well, people like Christoph Metzelder,
was really good, but again,
yeah. No, longevity as well. Maybe Rudiger will prove one day, but for now, yeah. Okay, how many in your midfield?
So I have no wingers in my team.
Neither do I. There we are. We could have got very close to this.
Yeah. So
your midfield.
I have 3 central midfielders, 2 attacking midfielders, and a striker.
I have exactly the same thing.
Okay, so who's your first central midfielder?
Well, I suppose if I was putting this team out, bang in the middle, Toni Kroos.
Me, Toni Kroos as well, 100%. Yeah. One of the best of our generation. Unbelievable technique.
Yeah. Former Leverkusen boy as well.
True.
Learned everything he knew back there.
Yeah. So many Champions League titles, won the World Cup.
That's it.
Bayern Munich, good for Real Madrid.
Literally won everything. Won the lot, done it all, and played well the entire time.
Yeah. He scored recently as well for Real Madrid.
So that's it. No, Toni Kroos is an automatic choice in there.
I have 2 more central.
Who's beside him? Give me one.
So I think there's one you're not going to agree with.
Mm-hmm.
I put Bastian Schweinsteiger.
I considered him, but I'm going to give him the same thing that Mats Hummels had. Okay. I just think towards the end of his career, his levels dropped quite a lot.
Okay, but I think he's so... I really remember him from when I was younger. He was a winger, which was crazy.
True. You forget that in 2000. Was he playing in 2006 as well? He would have,
Yeah, 100%.
He played as a winger then, didn't he?
Yeah, and when he's moved into this, I think he's really good at wide, but when he's moved into the middle, he was so good. He had the engine, he had the technique.
Yeah, and I think it was a whole midfielder, obviously, United.
But of course,
as well.
the one Bastian Schweinsteiger, the memory that stands out for me.
Which one?
2012 penalty miss.
Yeah. He scored an absolute belter of a goal in 2006 as well, didn't he? There was a lot of belters in that World Cup.
I remember Torsten Frings scored a belter for Germany.
True.
He's not in my team.
Because that was the year... Philip Lahm might have scored one. No, it was 2010. Philip Lahm scored the screamer. Wasn't it 2006 they had the weird ball as well?
2010 was a weird ball.
Was it? The Jumbo...
Jabulani.
Yeah. Okay, well, I can see your point. Who's your other midfielder?
You need to tell me your next one.
Okay, well, I've got Ballack, if I'm going for my German one.
Okay.
Michael Ballack. I know he didn't quite win it there, but to me, he was a force of nature in that midfield. There was very few players that were as good as Michael Ballack, in my opinion. He did it all. Attacked, defended, great on the ball, great passing, could head, could shoot. He was unbelievable. He was unplayable.
Yeah. I'm not going to say too much on Ballack because maybe he features a bit later for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
See, I would have him bang in there, and he did it for Chelsea as well. Chelsea around that time, you remember we had a very tight midfield of Lampard, Ballack, Essien,
Makelele
squeezed in there, and it worked. Yeah. It's just pure power. So Ballack beside Kroos for me.
Okay, so and then my third midfielder, I'm gonna get a lot of hate from Chelsea fans. I don't have Lampard in my team.
I don't either.
I feel so bad for it. I had to go for Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, me too. I debated it so hard, man. I really did, but tell me why.
I don't know, he was just... From the Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard discussion, he is the best. If you talk about it like being impartial, you don't want to be biased.
Yeah.
He could do everything.
It depends on what way we look at it, because if we're looking at overall, obviously Frank Lampard scored a stupid amount of goals for Chelsea, 212 odd.
And could easily get in his team. 100%.
But again, I don't think in a one match, one day thing, was Frank Lampard that exceptional compared to Steven Gerrard? Steven Gerrard on his day was the one.
Steven Gerrard could transform a game.
Yeah.
Like by himself, like from like.
And he could defend as well. People forget that he could defend.
Like,
he could
slow,
pass. His pass range was gorgeous. Yeah.
Like,
I went for Gerrard as well. I debated with Lampard a lot.
Okay, so your midfield is Kroos, Ballack, Gerrard. And then mine's Gerrard, Schweinsteiger and Kroos.
Very close. We've only got two players that are apart. And okay.
Similar. I wonder, so we're about how many players have to go? 3 players to go. I'm very curious to see if you agree.
Yeah.
With our choices on.
Or if you put someone earlier in, like obviously the temptation for me to put Rudy Fowler in this team is very strong, but I can only comment on YouTube videos I've watched of him.
Yeah, so you've got to think about it in our lifetime.
But if someone's got someone a bit earlier, if you're an older listener, my dad listens to this podcast, so if my dad wants to chat, my granddad listens to this podcast as well.
Nice.
He can get stuck
that's my dad as well.
But yeah, if you got someone a bit older generation, please feel free to chime in.
I guess it could be players like Lothar Matthaus there.
Yeah.
Sama.
King
Bobby
Rudy.
Charlton maybe.
Bobby Charlton has come over, Bex didn't think about putting Bex in at any point.
No, not at all. So
I want him to be in, but
I have 2 more Germans and 1 English to go.
I've got 2 English and 1 German.
Really? So
so you're telling me you've got 2 attacking midfielders, no wingers here.
Yes, so I'll continue with Ballack.
So you put Ballack as one of the attacking midfielders?
Yeah, one of my favourite players ever.
Wow.
Wore number 13, which is my favourite number as well.
Do you want him to play there because you think that's his best position, or are you just trying to find a way to get him into the team?
I mean, it could also be like a...
he's Sven-Goran Eriksson him here. You're just trying to get as many midfielders in as you can.
I mean, yeah, truly, he put Scholes on the left wing, didn't he?
Put everyone on the left wing, man. He put me on
I think, I don't know, it could be Ballack there. It could be also another central midfielder. It could be like 1 defensive midfielder, then 3.
Yeah, okay. Like Chelsea did, like a diamond maybe.
Whatever. But anyway, his best time's probably at Munich, Ballack, but when he was at Chelsea, he was still so good as well.
Still great.
Like,
the game against United.
2 goals against United, exactly. The penalty and the header.
So good, man.
All-round player.
That Chelsea team was scary looking back at it.
He was good in the air.
He was great. But even in the Champions League final in 2007, he gave it a real good go.
But he was just so unlucky.
He really, really was.
So unlucky.
Really, really was. Like, man, the worst one of the lot, like even before we think of the year where Leverkusen lost the treble, the year 2000 when Leverkusen needed a draw away from home to win their first Bundesliga title. They lost 1-0. Ballack scores an own goal. After having a bomb of a season, being so good all year, broke my heart.
Yeah.
Ballack, bless him. Never won the World Cup, never won the Champions League, never won the European Championships. No.
But still an unbelievable player, and he's in my team.
Do you think, sorry, just quickly, if Ballack had won the World Cup and a Champions League and just got over that line, would we be talking about him as one of the greatest players of all time?
Probably, yeah.
Would we put him in like maybe Zidane level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I loved him. He was so good.
Yeah, I think that was that's what it is.
42 goals for Germany, like from midfield.
That's insane. Yeah,
it's crazy. Like I said, he wasn't an attacking midfielder. He's attacking midfield in my team, but
he was everything, man. You could have played him at the front of a diamond. I think he did play that for Leverkusen. He played very attacking in his first stint there.
Okay, yeah.
He was a top scorer for 2 years in a row for Leverkusen, but superb player. Yeah, okay, I'm glad he's in there somewhere.
So who's your...
My first one is, remembering our generation, it's very early for me, but I've got Gaza.
Okay, yeah, I definitely couldn't put him in mind, but...
Okay, you're not that young, right? So, obviously, Gaza was talking about 96. Euro 96 was his big breakout year. I was 4.
I was born, so...
Yeah, okay. I don't remember him that well, but I remember a little bit about him, and I remember watching him. Like, it's not like I've discovered him on YouTube in my adult years. As I was like 10 or 11, I would have been seeing clips of him already. Yeah. As I'm 13, 14, people are still referring to him. You know, he had that whole thing with Real Mode as well, where he brought the sandwich and went fishing with him, which brought him into the media again. And then people started showing his clips as well.
He kissed Prince William as well recently as well.
He did, man. Yeah.
Character.
If there's ever that episode of players we'll go for a pint with, Gaz is definitely on the list.
Okay, interesting.
But anyway,
probably not a good idea, but
actually no, yeah. He's definitely back on the wagon. Like Gaz never got off the wagon, but I would put him in there.
Footballer.
Yeah, superb, absolutely. Like, man, it's Gaza. Like, what can you say? And to be honest, we're talking about players in that position. There wasn't many standout wingers from either team.
No,
over the last few years.
Like Beckham.
But would I change the entire system to accommodate David Beckham? No.
There's really not many.
And I want to, but Joe Cole again. Are we going to go that far?
I can't think of any really.
No.
David the Donker.
Leroy Sané maybe at the minute.
Maybe one day, plays like Saka could be there in the future.
Yeah.
But
So now, that's it. So I had to go with a narrow 3 up front, and Gaza was that.
So who else have you got then?
Thomas Muller.
Me too.
There we are.
100% easy.
Has to be. No.
Yeah, like
we defined a role.
The new position named after him was the German is Raumdeuter.
Raumdeuter, yeah.
Raumdeuter, yeah.
Which Raum is like a room. And Deuter is like a guy who investigates.
Very like, and we could talk about probably the player in this team with the most longevity as well.
It's unbelievable. Like you sort of forget.
Top scorer in the 2010 World Cup.
Like that's unbelievable. And he's still like he looks. To be fair, he looks the same as he did back then.
Recently for
that's true. He doesn't look like he's aged today. That doesn't mean he looked young. Like he looked about 40 when he was born, but he's still. You would swear he's just always been there.
Quite an unorthodox player as well. Like he's kind of like
awkward
and.
But that's one of his tricks. Yeah, that's one of his unique things. And that Raumdeuter thing, I was sort of looking up, is there many players that have done that? Obviously, he invented the role, or he was the one to get it, and he coined the term himself. But there isn't many other people to do it. A lot of people have said Dele Alli at his prime was something similar. That was his kind of role. There's a little bit of a difference between a Raumdeuter and, for example, a false 9, where it's more a player that will play as a 9 and drop deep to pick the ball up.
It also goes wide as well sometimes.
But the Raumdeuter's job is to find space. Purely to find space and then get the ball.
And he was very good at that. I mean, it was his position.
Yeah, and there was a role as well. You'll pronounce it better than I will. The trequartista.
Yeah,
which is something similar.
Manager.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, from what I understand, that's someone who plays in between the second and thirds of the pitch.
Okay.
And plays in there and operates in there, but doesn't necessarily look for space the way a Raumdeuter does.
Okay.
So they're all operating in similar areas of the pitch.
So you get football tactics as well in this podcast. You get everything.
Yeah, here.
Anecdotes, knowledge, tactics.
Costume changes.
Professionalism, everything.
World class.
But yeah, like Thomas Muller, icon, one club man. I always love his celebration as well. Celebration, he stands in the middle of the box. He doesn't really move. He scores. Yeah. He always celebrates from where he scores.
He's I think he is from Bavaria, isn't he? He's a local boy.
Yeah. Is he the only one club man in this team?
Oh, I would say it definitely is.
Philip Lahm as well.
Philip Lahm not played for anyone else.
I think he was in Munich. He was on loan to Stuttgart, so he wasn't a pure one club man. So Thomas Muller was the only one. I guess it also
Thomas Muller is from Bavaria as well. There you are.
Okay, so yeah,
he's just Mr. Bavaria. Yep. Like Bavarian culture not again. I think I'm saying again when I haven't referenced it in the first place. Bavarian culture is very different to German culture. I think we associate before we moved to Germany, especially.
I'd like to go, but
you're not missing much. We associate German culture, like the lederhosen and the big steins of beer and all that kind of stuff, as German. That's Bavarian. That's unique to Bavarian. They're a strange breed of people. They're very different to the rest of Germany, is a way to say it. And Thomas Muller is Bavarian through and through. The way he acts,
he's always like making jokes on social media as well.
He's funny, but in a very bizarre way. Yeah, in a very strange.
Let's say unique, unorthodox.
That's a very nice way to describe him.
He seems like a good guy though.
But yeah, I like him. I have a lot of time for Thomas Muller. So went straight into my team. So we've got one player left. It's our number 9 then. I'm assuming.
It's very easy.
Well, I know it's German for you, so it's not German for me.
It's English for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Who do you have? Harry Kane.
Really?
Yeah. Who do you have?
Wayne Rooney.
Oh.
How can you not have?
That's going to be the debate.
This is the debate. Okay. For me, like. He's arguably.
I thought you put a German.
Arguably the best player in his team.
Do you know why? Because, and I'm going to contradict myself here because I say this all the time. When England played in 2006, they should have played 3 at the front, and that Rooney goes as striker in his own. 3 in the middle, 2 wingers, Rooney up top in his own. Do I think Rooney as a number 9 in this team is the best number 9 in the team? No. And do I think Harry Kane is a better all-round player? I really do.
I disagree.
And I loved Wayne Rooney. I was a big Rooney fan, but Kane's obviously scored more goals than him as well.
As an honourable mention, but for me, like, what do you say about Rooney? Like, he could do everything. Some say he underachieved, but that's because his potential was so high.
Underachieving, like what? United's record goal scorer, England's record goal scorer for a long time.
He didn't win any like individual like trophies, as in like Ballon d'Ors or whatever, or didn't win.
No, but he wasn't that style of player.
No, but he could have done like it's the ultimate striker. Like he had a TV show, Street Striker, as well. Like,
I was watching that the other day. That came up my TikTok.
Striker, are we?
No, Harry Kane doesn't. He's not the streets.
He's not the
Harry Kane's not the man from the streets. But I don't know, man. I think
loved Rooney at Chelsea. Like
apparently it was very close. Yeah. My dad met Colleen Rooney in a pub once when the whole transfer thing was going on, and he asked her, and she said no.
Okay,
that was when the rumours were hot at the time.
Yeah,
and Jose really fancied him, and Colleen said no.
He scored some of the best goals in Premier League history as well.
Yeah, he was a proper. Scumbag isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. Like a proper street rat, and I loved it in the best sense of the word.
To win.
Yeah,
like, he was, really,
he was disgusting at times. Yeah, he was so vicious the way he tackled and the way he ran back.
Skinhead Rooney.
Yeah, he was rough, man.
Like when he had his
he was
skinhead.
rough.
But no, for me, like, of course, you can talk about Kane as well.
Well, if I wasn't putting Kane in, it would be Rooney. I can't think of a pure German number 9 from that era. Klose is going to be the one.
For me for a bit.
I don't know if Klose, honestly, was he like, he obviously was. Is he still the World Cup's record goal scorer
for now? Mbappe will take over soon.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Yeah,
but
like, was he? Like, he's good, obviously, but is he?
He wasn't.
Is he Harry Kane, Wayne Rooney good?
No,
nowhere
I don't
near
think
it.
so. Like, maybe Germans will say otherwise. I couldn't think of any other.
Germany really haven't had that number 9, that really solid one that's turned up for years and banged out loads of goals.
For a while now since Klose left.
Even now they're struggling for it.
70 goals for Germany, I think. Also pretty incredible.
Like, he definitely scored goals, there's no doubts about that, but as an all-round player, he's not even close to Rooney or Kane. Rooney and Kane, there's a debate to be had in there, but between Rooney and Miroslav Klose, not even, no.
I can't believe Gareth doesn't have Rooney.
I love Wayne Rooney, but I'm going with Harry Kane just because I think Harry Kane as an overall player, especially what I've seen from him in the last 2 to 3 years, where he's dropping deep and playing as a playmaker as well, he's unbelievable.
Rooney did that better.
Rooney mainly did that though. I don't know. Rooney as passionate as I think technically Harry Kane just I've never seen a more all-rounded number 9 as Harry Kane. When he's on his day, he's unplayable. And the only thing I think that Harry Kane hasn't had in his career is he's had the very unfortunate luck of having to play for Tottenham. If he didn't play for Tottenham, as we're seeing now, he's just scored a hat-trick fresh off the weekend. Although not officially a hat-trick. You've seen this?
Was it one taken away?
No. Have you not seen this rule, man? I'm going to have to ask some Germans about this. Apparently in the Bundesliga, I don't know if it's your first hat-trick or I think it's just your first hat-trick, to officially register as a hat-trick, you have to score all 3 goals in one half without someone else scoring in between. So Erling Haaland had the same problem with Dortmund in 2020, where he scored 3 goals but 2 were in the first half, 1 in the second half, so it didn't officially count by the Bundesliga as a hat-trick. Now, I don't know if that's their first one, or I think it's just their first one. It is. Yeah, that's pure German bureaucracy to get over the hill. So technically, he did score a hat-trick, but officially in the Bundesliga records, that will not go down as a hat-trick.
Interesting.
But he has just scored one.
But yeah, of course, Harry Kane was one of my honourable mentions. I also had Oliver Kahn, I mentioned him, Hummels, Lampard, and Mesut Ozil. I
was so tempted to put him in for a while.
Yeah, he was so
But
good.
Again, that little few year period he was unplayable, but there was times where he was awful.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, he was capable of being really bad.
Is there anyone else you wanted to put in?
Yeah, the midfielders would have been the main one. The defence picked itself.
Scholes.
Goalkeepers picked itself. It would have just been Scholes, Lampard.
Yeah.
And again, that's because the Germans, great teams, not an individual. And that's not just a German football thing. I think that's a big thing in German culture, is the sense of community, togetherness, teamwork. Yep. That's a big thing in German culture. Like, when you watch young German teams here, like under 10s and under 11s, if you ever walk past them on Saturday morning down in Germany, it's all about teamwork.
Yeah.
There's no skills, there's no fancy training, it's all organisation.
England golden generation.
Yeah, exactly.
England teams have that a bit more now.
Better, yeah.
But, yeah.
So Germany, they just didn't have the standout individuals. Yeah. Obviously, we're picking the best team. Like, been better Germany teams in the last 20 years than it has England teams. That's without doubt.
Sure.
But individuals.
So
strange.
Yeah, let's run through your team one more time.
So Can and goal, back 4 of Philip Lam, JT, Rio, and Ashley Cole. A midfield 3, Kroos, Holden, and then Ballack and Gerrard at either side.
Okay.
And Gaza and Thomas Müller sitting behind Harry Kane. That's an alright team.
That's really good. So yeah, mine was Manuel Neuer, Philip Lam, Ferdinand, Terry, Ashley Cole, and then this midfield, do what you want a bit. Gerrard, Schweinsteiger, Kroos, Michael Ballack and Müller behind Wayne Rooney.
Not bad at all.
Very nice to do. And of course, Rooney and Müller can switch. Ballack can also go ahead and play.
Well, yeah, I will give you that. The front 3 with Rooney is much more flexible. Rooney could play anywhere.
Yeah.
You can play Rooney in midfield. He often did. Not deliberately.
But I think, probably about all the combined 11s, this is probably one of the easiest ones you can do.
Yeah, well, we haven't really had any disagreements on this. I thought it was going to be harder than what it was. It kind of picked itself, to be honest.
Yeah, once I started, I was like, okay, this is really, really easy. But yeah, I'm really curious to see what our listeners have.
Yeah. If anyone's put any wild cards in there. I think the main thing would be if you're going to players before. If you're going to older players, you might get a few different options. Like, also, Alan Shearer might be thrown in there. Yeah. Oh, the trophy. That's the one. Did Gaza win that tournoi competition?
What?
In 96. the tournament in 1997, England won it. Have you not seen this? No. Alan Shearer was captain. He's held the trophy.
I've never heard of this.
Say you're an England fan. England have look. There's Alan Shearer with the tournament. It was the international tournament, 1997. It was only on for a few years. The teams that year were Brazil, France, Italy, and England won it. I don't know who was in the England team. Let's see. Shearer scored a lot of goals in it. Wright goals. I'm imagining Gaza probably would have been in the team, but I can't get the England squad of the tournament in 1997. But there you are.
There we are. Look,
so I think Gaza did win an international competition.
We should have more England players in his team then.
Yeah, Shearer would have got in there as well, maybe is Shearer better than Kane and Rooney? Yeah, that's a genuine debate to be had.
He's always going to be an English striker, I think.
Yeah, I can't think of any other Germans. Rudy Feller, we're going back far enough, and that's it. And obviously, you go back far enough. You're talking Beckenbauer and Matthäus, and
for sure.
But yeah, so there we are.
Yeah, there we go.
So we are going to be on a small, not a hiatus for you guys. You guys are going to get your podcast regularly as you do, and you'll be getting your social media content as you do. It'll all be coming out. We're just not going to be there for a while. We're going to take a break for a while.
But yeah,
and we'll be back. I don't know what we're talking about next. We haven't got a plan. Have you got any ideas for an episode?
Again, let us know.
There's a few that sort of came out of this. I'd be keen to do a wee one on German goalkeepers.
German goalkeepers, that's a good one. Yeah, that could be really interesting.
And David Beckham haircuts.
There we go.
We'll do a podcast itself on that. We'll start a new podcast.
Out,
Right, well, that's it. Last few things. Suppose go follow us on social media. Yeah, give this video a like, by the way, wherever you listen to it, and rate it. No, it really helps with the algorithm, which we are in a never-ending battle with the algorithm gods. So it is very appreciated. Just throw it a like. I probably should have said that at the start, because if you're sticking through to the end, you are going to like it anyway. But tell your mates to go and like it. If they don't have to listen to it, tell them to go like it anyway, because it just helps get the ball rolling.
A lot, and we really appreciate it. But yeah, let us know what you think about our teams. Let us know if you're going to make any changes. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Let's go here. Right.
See you soon.
Cheers, guys.